Let's go into another portion of the living benefits. Earned income accounts is your checking, your savings, your 401k. Um, when you have money in your 401k, let me listen to talk to those that are looking forward to retirement. You get to retirement, and all this time, they've been taken from your paycheck taxes, Social Security taxes. And they said they're taking them because they want to give you an income when you retire. So you happy. You're going to have retirement, Social Security, you're going to have pension to pay for your bills. First of all, inflation is so high right now. It's the highest it's been since 1990. We're about around 5.8 to 6.2% of inflation, the highest it's been in over 20 years. So you don't even know where it's going to be when you retire. But if you think that those two checks you're getting is going to cover you, then okay. My name is Lady G, and I'm going to tell you what Lady G thinks. Lady G thinks that there is somebody behind closed doors in government trying to figure out how to put a stop to Social Security checks. Why? Because if you do the history of it, it was never meant to be permanent. It was supposed to be temporary, and people started living longer, and before they knew it, they couldn't stop it. But there is a man sitting behind closed doors, I believe, trying to stop it. So there is a chance that when you retire, you may not get that Social Security check. Then I worked on Wall Street. I left Wall Street well over 14 years ago. And when I left Wall Street, they were already trying to stop pension. I talked to a client this week, and her company's talking about it too. So you're waiting on a pension and Social Security to think about settling back on when you retire. That might not even be there, which should be why you should be creating your own retirement bucket. But let's go back to 401k. 401k is your company done said, I'm going to match you. Whatever you put in, I'm going to put in. I'm going to match it. So you feeling good. I got this 100,000. I'm retiring. I'm getting the pension. I'm getting the Social Security. That's going to pay for my bills. And I'm going to use this 100 grand in 401k to go traveling and do what I want to do. Sounds good. But there's a little problem with that. When you take that 100,000 out, you ain't walking with 100,000. Depending on your tax bracket, whether you're 20 to 30%, you're giving 20,000 to 30,000 to the IRS. And you may walk off with 60 or 70 if you're lucky. But if that is not the kicker, let's go back to that Social Security that you're getting, that you was getting taken out of your check. If you have taken more out of your 401k that puts you over the income level for singles and married, they are taxing your Social Security. So what you think you was getting in a Social Security check will not be, because you are now paying double the tax. Now, paying double the tax to me just doesn't seem right. Why would I do that? I gave you it in the first place so that I could have a retirement fund. So you have a way to avoid that. And that is by taking your 401k and rolling it over into an annuity. Because if you roll it over into an annuity, when you retire, you can take the funds, okay, but it will not affect your Social Security. 401k, checking, savings, that's all earned income accounts. That is reported to the IRS. Anything reported to the IRS. People that know people that are in rent stabilized buildings that got to give a list of their income and their accounts. When you list that you taking out something from the 401k, your rent is going up. But if you had it in life insurance or an annuity, that would not take effect. If you get sued, where are they going for the funds? They're going to your checking, your savings, They're talking about your 401ks, your CDs. But what they cannot touch is your life insurance, your annuities. That is why we have to be smarter and wiser. And when we know better, we'll do better. And that is where I'm trying to get us. If something was to happen to you, the minute you pass away, I hear people say, I don't need life insurance. I got $1 million sitting in the bank account. What do I need life insurance for? Well, let me give you this inkling. That $1 million is sitting in your bank account. The minute something happens to you, someone walks to a keyboard, types in your name, date, and time that you're gone. The minute they do that, your accounts are frozen. Your family can't touch it. And that's why they do it, because they want it to go through probate, because they want to make sure if there's anyone that you owed money to, they get paid first. They ain't worried about your family being able to bury you. They ain't worried about your family being able to pay the mortgage that you left behind. They're making sure that people get paid. And guess what? Anyone can come and say that you owe them money. It's not the court's responsibility to share that you did not. They don't have to fact check or nothing. So if I want to come and say, Yvette, you owe me money, guess what? They got to give it to me.
Facts.
Not fact checking. So that right there is enough to make sure that I have my stuff in order. And that's where we're going to have talks about the trust.
I think you just called.
But I want to make sure that you understand why you should look at these accounts. 401ks, roll over to an annuity so that you don't have to deal with your savings, your Social Security being taxed, or when you pass away, your accounts being frozen. 529s. If no one knows what a 529 is, if you're a parent, you typically open a 529 for your child so that you can start creating an educational fund for them. I'm able to do 529s for my client, but what I first say to my client, I'll put you whatever you want, but I want you to hear me first. I do not recommend 529s to my client. I recommend you put that same money in an IUL. Why? Because the way these kids come out these days, they can come to you and say college is not for them and they don't want to go. And you done saved up this money. Now what you going to do? You could take the money, but you're paying taxes on it because you're going to be taking it for something that it was not supposed to be used for, which was the education of the child that was on that policy, on that account. So why not put that money in an IUL where there's no stipulations, where there's no restrictions? If they want to go to college, take the money out, let them go to college. If they don't, go on vacation, do what you want. But why give extra taxes to the IRS? We all have to pay taxes. The point is, I refuse to give them more than what they deserve. And they get extra because we don't know better. If your child decides to go to school outside the country, you can pay for it with the 529, but you're going to be hit with a penalty because they're going outside the country. So why would we do that? I suggest put it in an IUL and then letting it go that way. And let's avoid probate. Probate can take 3 months, 3 years, longer than that. I just ran into someone, his wife passed, and he is still going through probate. And his wife has been gone now for years. She has properties that he can't even touch. He's still going through probate. Let me tell you, probate cost. There are fees, and all those fees are going to go out of the account that your money was in. It's going to go out of there, and the bill collectors are going to be paid. And if there's $1 left, that's what your family's going to see. Another thing I want to bring up is check your senior citizens policies. We are in a place, and I've seen it happen, You know how they say in our community, baby, everything's taken care of, the paperwork. I know who I want to sing at my service. I know who I want to do this, that. The everything is in the manila envelope, in the drawer, under the slips. Well, what happens when you go and get that envelope, which it happened to someone recently? They took that envelope to the funeral home. Funeral home called the life insurance company. Lady was nice enough to have 2 policies. Both policies had expired. So not only am I at the table grieving the loss of a matriarch, we now looking at each other trying to figure out how we now going to pay for this service because we thought we had 2 policies to pay for it. So we definitely need to look at our senior citizens policies to make sure that everything is ordered, because you do not want to get to a point where it's not.